Our big house in Utah is just left. We've got tons of family in the area who can watch over it and keep it safe. But we're leaving in such a rush that we don't have time to do anything with it. Robyn's house is rented. We don't own the house, so we need to completely move her out.
These are the roses from my wedding bouquet. And these are the headbands for the girls.
Whoever did that was wrong. You're not bringing all Peyton's worthless toys.
So they're moving to Vegas. Meri doesn't bother taking any of her stuff. Peyton can't bring his toys, and there's barely enough room for the essentials. But hey, thank God Robyn can make sure her dead wedding flowers come along for the ride. Priorities, right? Now, here's the thing. If Robyn's house was rented and they were all moving out, why couldn't they just store her stuff in their Utah home that they were leaving behind? I mean, it's a head-scratcher. But sure, bring the wilted flowers instead. The worst part? Comparing Peyton's toys being left behind to Robyn's dried-out roses just makes me want to curl up in a corner and cry. These kids lost everything overnight. It's a miracle they turned out as well as they have. And let's not forget their incredible track record of moving -57 times. And they still leave piles of junk behind in every house. The whole family is somehow terrible at deadlines and moving, which is wild when you consider how many times they've done it. Oh, and speaking of bad decisions, let's talk about Kotex. On their first trip to Vegas, he somehow managed to trailer his motorcycle out there, but kids' beds. Nah, those stayed behind. Apparently, the Harley had higher priority than, the actual children. Here's the kicker, though. Logan, a kid himself at the time, was somehow put in charge of packing the moving vans and telling younger siblings they couldn't bring their stuff. Child neglect, much? I can't stress this enough. None of the adults in this family have a clue. I think Gwendolyn once mentioned on her Patreon that they had a family friend staying there, and I'm pretty sure she said Leon stuck around for a while too, since they were so devoted to that religious school. But I'm like 98% sure about that, so who knows? We've got so much to dive into today, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Elena here, and welcome back to my channel Reality Nexus X. Kody was definitely more upset about losing Christine's house than about losing Christine herself, truly moving away, or even Yisbel's invasive spinal surgery. You could practically see the mourning in his eyes as he did the final walkthrough, desperately trying to convince Janelle to buy it. The guy's confidence was so wrapped up in his outward possessions, wives, kids, and now a house, that it was almost painful to watch. He thought they were the proof of his competency, but in reality, it's all just a show, much like his hairline, which is basically a spiral perm in denial. For years, Kody believed he could manipulate the OG3 into doing whatever he wanted on the big issues, even though he loved to claim the opposite. He was convinced he had all the leverage in the family. Fast forward, and in the blink of an eye, he lost that so-called superpower. The house? Gone. The respect of his family? Gone. His claim to fame as the guy with 4 wives? Gone. The family pot of money? Yep, gone too. No surprise, all those things were the foundation of his fragile ego. What he's calling confidence looks more like an overinflated ego to me. Honestly, I just hope that when he talks about his confidence coming back, it doesn't mean he's about to return to his usual jerk behavior. But what really stunned the most? Aurora staying away for 10 days while he had coronavirus. You could almost hear the whiny tone in his voice as he lamented that one. Oh, and let's not forget how he really thought he had Christine wrapped around his finger. He didn't even realize she'd been plotting her escape for at least a year. Honestly, it was almost satisfying to watch. At one point, Kody casually suggests Christine can just stay on the property, rent it out, or have her new boyfriend, whoever that may be, move in with her. It's clear he didn't care about her leaving him or even moving on with someone else, as long as the money kept flowing in. Do you honestly think Robyn loves Kody? Please, I don't buy it for a second. Robyn's just another opportunist who waltzed into the family the moment TLC showed up with cameras rolling. She was drowning in debt, and hey, here came Kody and his little polygamous paycheck. Convenient, right? She played the long game: marriage, adoption, favorite wife status, and now she's living in a mansion. If a better deal came along tomorrow, she'd be out the door so fast, and of course, it'd be everyone else's fault. Let's be real here. Neither of them loves the other. Robyn was hunting for a provider, and Kody, well, he was just chasing the fantasy. Robyn turned on the damsel in distress act, so Kody could feel like the big man, the hero. But we all know that's not her true self. Kody's soulmate is just a front, something Robyn maintains to keep up appearances, and Kody, sorry to break it to him, doesn't even crack her list of soulmates. Remember when Robyn said she wasn't looking for some young hot guy? Nah, she was after a man who could pay the bills. Opportunist vibes all the way. Does she love Kody? I don't know, but I'm pretty sure she loves the fact that he adores her. And let's face it, he's easy to manipulate because he's so obsessed with her. I think Robyn's real goal was to slide into the family as the new, young, beautiful wife, the one everyone else would envy. She wanted the spotlight. So it makes sense why she's so bitter about the other marriages falling apart. Her whole image was supposed to be the fresh, shiny new thing. But love? Please, she doesn't love anyone. Sure, maybe she thought she did at some point. But now, not so much. She might say she loves him, but it's not real love. Not in the way it should be. And now? Oh, she's starting to throw Kody under the bus on the show, painting him as the villain while portraying herself as the poor, misunderstood victim. Classic Robyn move, right? Just like she did with each of his other wives. And Kody? He's busy covering up Robyn's messy reality, the one where she's a single mom with tons of debt and a serious lack of ambition. It's almost like having Kody around gave her the excuse to keep pretending everything's fine, to avoid facing the truth. So when it comes down to it, Robyn's love for Kody isn't about him at all. It's all about covering up her own flaws and making herself feel like she's got it all figured out. Loving Kody? Nah, it's about loving herself. So no, she doesn't love him. At least, not in the way anyone would want to be loved. The Robyn's just so evil, it's almost impressive. Truly the kind of evil that makes you sick. So here's the deal. Meri gets a text from Christine saying she just took Truly to the ER at Summerlin Hospital. Then Robyn strolls over to tell Kody about it. And what does she say? I don't know. Maybe she went to Centennial. Seriously? There is absolutely no way she could have forgotten something that big within minutes. It took her all the way to go wake Kody up, but somehow she can't remember the hospital name. Sure, Robyn. We're all buying that. Honestly, this felt exactly like the graduation stunt, where Robyn purposely got herself all lost and late. Both times, she acted like she was trying to be a team player for the kids, acting all concerned about locations and logistics. But really, it was just a trick to distract Kody. She was trying to pull his focus away from the child who needed it most. I mean, really, she just wanted him on a wild goose chase, so he'd fail to show up for Truly. Genius, right? And let's talk about Gwen's graduation. A drive-up celebration because of coronavirus, and Kody only rode with Aurora, who graduated from the same school. Can you imagine how that must have felt for Gwen? Yeah, probably horrible. They could have all quarantined together, gone as a family, but Robyn's kids might have died if they were exposed to Christine's kids. God forbid. At the end of the day, it's clear Robyn's head is so wrapped up in herself, her kids, and how every single situation impacts them. She doesn't have a single ounce of bandwidth left to genuinely care about the rest of the family. I totally get what you're saying, though. I've got the memory of a peanut too, and I forget stuff in a heartbeat. But for something that important? Walking from one room to the next and still mixing up hospital names? Come on. Oh, and of course, Robyn's gotta run and tell Kody while he's napping in her bed when he should have been with Truly and Christine in the first place. Classic Robyn move. You know why I'm still watching this train wreck? Because I absolutely despise Kody, and it's so satisfying to watch him crash and burn. Don't get me wrong, I do feel a little bad for the poor souls who still worship him and follow him blindly. They haven't quite figured out what a colossal POS he really is. Christine, Janelle, and their kids? Yeah, they're definitely onto him. They might not show it on camera, but you just know they're laughing behind his back, especially Mykelti and Gwen. Kody's a walking disaster, self-serving, narcissistic, gaslighting, dramatic, childish, and just an all-around terrible person. The whole coronavirus mess really set me off. I mean, he literally forgot Gabe's birthday. How is that even possible? I'm not totally caught up yet, but let's be real, I know enough spoilers to get the gist. And honestly, it makes me so happy to see him try so hard to make this work, only to fail spectacularly. He deserves every bit of the chaos coming his way. I'm genuinely thrilled that the rest of them are starting to see the light. I can't wait for all of them to speak their truths. Bring on the tea. And isn't it just wild how Kody and Robyn can provoke this much anger? Like, seriously, what's their secret? There are a few reality TV stars who can do that, but these two? Wow. It blows my mind how people like them can exist with zero accountability. I just want justice for those poor kids and wives. It's so unfair, and honestly, it breaks my heart. So let's talk about the very fair and equitable way the Brown family handled the living situations, shall we? Apparently, they didn't want to play favorites between wives, so they split everything equally. That's why, when it came to building their luxurious homes in Las Vegas, Meri got just as much as Christine. Fair, right? But here's the kicker. What about the kids? Do they get their slice of this perfect equality pie? When they moved to Flagstaff, I couldn't help but think about how jealous and neglected some of the kids must have felt. Janelle's boys, constantly sharing rooms, zero privacy, while Meri's house always had more empty bedrooms than you could count. And poor Savannah, first living in a trailer, then in a cramped 2-bedroom apartment, while Robyn's kids were living in a mansion, getting ATVs for Christmas a couple miles away. Talk about setting up the stage for some sibling rivalry. Then the adults sit there and wonder why Janelle's kids are struggling with Kody and Robyn's. I wonder why. If this whole thing was really about the kids, if the big goal was to be one big happy, blended family, then maybe, just maybe, the adults should have prioritized giving the kids an equal standard of living. You know, instead of pretending that splitting the money equally between wives was the same as actually giving the kids an equal quality of life. Equitable finances, people, not just equal ones. And the whole house situation? Yeah, it's been talked about endlessly, but let's be real. Meri's house was always going to be the same size and value because, surprise, surprise, that's how developers work. So most of what we saw was just manufactured drama for the cameras. But here's the thing, the family budgets, food, clothes, hygiene, all that basic stuff should have been proportionate to the number of kids. Janelle had a bunch of teenage boys, so her grocery bill was probably through the roof. And no, I'm not saying Meri should have been punished because she only had one child, but come on, basic common sense here. At the end of the day, Kody was a garbage parent, husband, and provider. And let's think about the future. What happens to Kody and Robyn's estate? Do the non-Robyn kids get anything? Who's surprised if they don't? Kody is just like every other polygamous guy. He's not special. He treats his wives based on how much he's into them at the moment, and the resources they get are directly tied to whether they're in his good graces. It's clear, none of them really love or care about their kids or wives. It's all about what benefits him. Robyn, pregnant before the wedding, and oh how it shows. Dayton was born in January 2000, and Robyn and her first husband, David, tied the knot in June 1999. So, unless Dayton decided to make a surprise, early entrance into the world, months premature, Robyn was definitely a pregnant bride. Not exactly a shocking plot twist, but for a fundamentalist Mormon woman, being pregnant out of wedlock is practically a scandal in itself. Talk about drama, right? Reckless Robyn, living on the wild side. And remember her big purity talk with the kids? Oh yeah, that one. Let's not forget how she casually confessed to them, including Dayton himself, that her biggest regret in life was having premarital sex. Way to make everyone feel super comfortable, Robyn. Poor Dayton, sitting there while his mom spills the beans on how she had sex before finding her soulmate Kody. Oh, and let's not overlook how she pointed the finger at her ex-husband, blaming him for taking her purity. Because clearly that was the worst part, her ex took it, not the fact that she had sex at all before meeting Kody. All while her 3 kids from that marriage are just there, listening, face bombs all around. Kody and his brilliant decision-making skills. Where do I even start? So he decides that moving to Flagstaff is absolutely essential right now because the real estate market is at its peak, right? As if that's some stroke of genius. But here's the best part. In hindsight, it's hilarious because all he had to do was wait 2 more years, get the triplets through high school, and boom, 2020 hits, and those homes would have skyrocketed in value. We're talking bidding wars, people, but no, instead, Kody decides to pull the trigger, throwing all logic out the window because, surprise, he needed it now. Seriously, Kody's a man-child. The moment he wants something, it's an emergency, it has to happen immediately, no thought for the future. You'd think someone with kids and a whole family might look at the bigger picture, but hey, that's too much to ask. Let's not forget the real reason they moved to Flagstaff. It wasn't Kody's big brain financial decision. It was because Sabin, aka Robyn, wanted to be near her son who was starting school there. Of course, they never bothered to tell the rest of the family this. It's almost as if everyone else was just supposed to follow along with Kody's brilliant plan without question. Classic move, right? And then, oh my god, they end up renting these overpriced places in Flagstaff while still paying for their homes in Vegas. Even the military tries not to inconvenience families like that. Watching those episodes where Kody takes each wife to Flagstaff, promising Christine she'll be queen every day there, it's just pure comedy gold. Kody and Robyn totally scammed the whole family with that one. But the financial mishandling, truly a masterpiece of disaster. They moved out of their 4 Vegas homes, left them half empty, and didn't put them on the market for months. Like, what kind of strategy is that? You'd think if they were in such a rush to move, they'd have emptied and staged those homes the day after they left, right? But no, Janelle had to travel back, dragging her feet to prepare the homes for sale. Meanwhile, they're renting 4 different places in Flagstaff and still paying expenses for the homes in Vegas. Then they have the audacity to sit down for a family crisis meeting about running out of money. What a joke! Moving is already expensive. Rent, security deposits, utility fees, moving vans. But these guys took it to a whole new level of ridiculousness. You'd think they'd time it right, so they weren't paying for 2 places at once. But nope, they just threw caution to the wind, wasted money, and now we're all left trying to comprehend how they thought any of this was a good idea. The entire thing was a disaster in every way. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and much love to you all.